against them. And the stonework on the concrete slab at the front of the building is pending. They would like to get that done before the weather changes. So far, still minimal leaking in the Right Branch Library basement. Got dry weather, so we'll see what happens when the weather gets wet. Our water bottle fountain installation is still pending. County IT is loading 10 years of history from the old system, J.D. Edwards, into the new system, Tyler. We have a network installation backup that's pending. We are, as the technology committee is evaluating the technology ways to replace obsolete self-check stations. We also went and toured the Teams meeting rooms at the courthouse to see if we could find some ways to better upgrade our meeting rooms. We participated in many different safety trainings, and we are currently participating in a mandatory substance abuse virtual training. All staff complete.
Going back to the IT report.
Yes.
Did you have a chance to talk to them about email addresses for commissioners and board members?
I did. I called IT and I said, you know, it would be good if there was a county provided email address, and they already are looking at that. There was, at the last commissioners meeting, a person spoke who really wanted to be able to contact board members. We haven't got a lot of personal information on our board members out there, but the commissioners are going to discuss that next week and try to find a way to get you, get information to you without compromising privacy.
Because I've noticed that they've been using their individual email accounts as well and don't have Campbell County accounts. And
I think they do have Campbell County accounts.
I thought, well, maybe they do.
Maybe they have both.
They exist.
They exist.
Because they're posted on the website. Like,
Oh, okay.
I get in contact with them, but whether, you know, sometimes we reply, but not all the time.
Yeah, so I think that'll be good. And I'll be able to report back on it when I hear more about it.
And that would be something that is potentially offered to all boards, or are there
Yes.
other boards that have email
All
addresses
boards.
already?
Yeah, all boards. And that way, people can contact you directly instead of me forwarding messages. I think it would be a good thing. We've had 2 staff resignations. Anna Street, our circulation services manager, resigns effective September 1st. And Jamie Heilman at the Right Branch resigned effective August 13th.
I have some questions.
Yes.
The community training that says it's as offered by the DOJ, and it says still evaluating if there's a need. Who's evaluating that? Who?
Well, I think several people are. I was directly contacted, and I have not reached out to them for training. But I know that it's an option if things get too crazy. So.
Is this for the community, since it says community training?
Yes,
or is
it
for the
is
staff?
a community training. They just approached me to see if it's something that the library was interested in, and I have not contacted them at this point. If things are running smoothly, I don't see a need to, but it is an option out there as well. So, and I think I've shared with all of you that we had received that contact.
And so what kind of training is? I mean, I've read the packet, but what are we wanting to offer that to the community? I can read what it says.
Well, I don't think I said I wanted to offer it at this point.
Right.
But if things
what's
got
gonna have to
crazy,
happen?
if things got crazy here and we needed some help, I think they come in and they try to do mediation and help. And so there's training on, I don't know, conflict resolution or things like that. I haven't really dug too deep into it. Like I said, I've been contacted and I have not been in contact with them. If there's any other agencies that have been contacted, I have no knowledge of it.
So as of now, we're not looking at doing this.
No.
So if there was some event would have to happen to cause us to bring in training for the community to resolve racial and ethnic conflicts and hate crime conflicts. Okay, so right now we're not looking at that.
I
Okay.
certainly have not reached out to them.
Okay.
But this is informational, not trying to push it on anybody, okay?
Does it cost anything, or is this just a?
I haven't reached out to them, so I don't know. Since that came to me and in my official capacity, I shared it with you as my board.
Okay.
And that's all that's happened.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
You said you did send that out via email?
Mhm.
I must have overlooked that one.
Okay.
Occasionally you probably, I'm sure I just didn't see it.
Okay.
Any other questions on the director's report, comments on the board? Can we move on to workshops and meetings? Yes, or do we want to cover that?
Sure.
Some of it I know we kind of covered in the director's report.
Yeah. There are a list of activities and programs for you to review. We have started up our Microsoft classes again for people who need basic training. And our Sunday hours will resume in a couple of weeks. And we usually run Sunday hours during the school year except for holidays. And so I think of most of these we already talked about. The young adult author is Nathan Hale, and so he should be around, very popular with the kids. We have some book discussion groups going on. Our Overdrive Circulation has gone crazy since we joined the Wyoming Virtual Library. So I think our patrons are discovering with a bigger collection that there are more things that they want to check out. It was 5,068 in July, and it was 3,200 last July, so that's a pretty impressive jump. Our Library Foundation meeting is September 7th, and we're going to finalize our Bob Barlow art acquisition and the Library Foundation budget. Friends of the Library are busy planning their fall book sale, and our next meeting is September 27th.
That covers everything prior to the public presentation, correspondence portion. Do you have any correspondence that we need to cover?
I'll have the person that submitted some correspondence with a reconsideration form. I may have left it on my desk, so I'll check on that.
And that was just a FYI for us.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Any others?
I got nothing.
Shall we move on to the public comment section of the meeting? Do we need a motion for that? I don't think so, right?
I don't think so. It's on our agenda.
Move on to public presentations, and I believe we had a suggested format for that was similar to our last library board meeting. Is that right, Terry?
Yeah.
Okay. We have 5 people signed up for public comment. We'll follow the same rules that were available prior. So 3 minutes. And do you have a timer that we can?
Yes. This is a public meeting timer, and it just goes through the colors. It was gifted to us so that people would have a better idea of how much time they have left for speaking.
And I believe if we use it on the auto timer setting, so we'll set it for 3 minutes, 80% of that time it'll be green, and then about 15 it'll be yellow, and then in the last 5 minutes it will show red and yellow. So we can go in the order on the list here. First is Kevin Bennett.
Hello. So I spoke at the last couple meetings. Nice to see our boys in blue, but it's a brown shade of blue. Mr. Anderson, I loved your performance at the county commissioner meeting, where you said that you had not read or had any information about this book is gay that Ben Decker and I read passages from right in front of you. I mean, it was beautiful. Lawrence Olivier, the fine actor, would be so proud of that performance. I loved it. And today, I love how you brought more of that performance in by using bureaucracy to get more copies of the book we don't like. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I also love how many in this community and in the newspapers and in the county commissioners are characterizing our movement as pro-censorship, when what we want to do is move books from one part of the library to another. In fact, until the meeting with commissioners, there'd only been 3 requests for books to be reconsidered. Though we've been meeting over a month at the time and had discussed this, we did not request books be reconsidered because we don't want to censor. What we want to do is protect children. We want to make sure that young adult materials, and Terry had the chance to say that was 19 and over, but she specified it was 6th graders to high schoolers. Young adult materials should not include sexually explicit material. That's obviously so. That's very basic common sense. And the fact that we have to have this discussion and that instead of fixing the problem, everyone's playing the game where they hide behind bureaucracy to avoid being responsible is something that I find very, very disturbing. It's unnecessary. If we were in good faith, the issue would have been resolved like this. Oh my gosh, we made a mistake. I'm so sorry. We'll move those books out. Instead, everyone's trying to characterize those who are talking about this as though they're trying to censor, and as Reardon put it, bring us back to the days of the Nazis. I take profound issue with that because protecting children is not the same as euthanizing an entire race. That's quite a ridiculous statement to make. So you can see why we've had some difficulty here and why this movement is continuing and hasn't slowed down any. In fact, I received a death threat. Well, here's what happened. Somebody called me at approximately 11:26 a.m. on August 6th and said, drop dead and nothing else. Now, earlier in that same day, Darcie Accord made a post where she specified my family's business. She made that at either 9:40 or 10:06 a.m. on August 6th. I don't know if the library allows that for people on company time to make posts against the community. And I don't know if the person who gave me a death threat saw her post or not. But after I made a police report, one of the people blocked me on that post. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Here's what it means to me. This issue needs to be resolved. Mr. Anderson, I think the thing you should do is resign. Because the reputation that's being brought to the community is one of encouraging sexualization of minors. I think the same is true of Terry Leslie. And ma'am, I don't know where you stand on this, but I saw what you said at the county commissioner meeting, and you seem to play the same game Charlie did about these books. And that's no good. This isn't appropriate. We're not for censorship. We want to protect children. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comments. Next is Ed Siske, who would like to speak about inappropriate material.
Madam Chairman and Library Board, I'd personally like to thank you for meeting with the county commissioners. Really appreciate that and having good dialogue with them. We've been talking about Nazi censorship. The proper term is Nazi censorship. We're not for Nazi censorship. Nazi censorship is banning anything un-German. That's what Nazi censorship is. Okay, we're not trying to ban anything un-German. If the Nazi newspapers would put something in the paper about something being un-German, they would be shut down, radio and newsreels would also be. That's not what we're doing. We're here not to censor. We'll repeat that over and over again because it seems like the media seems to think we're trying to censor. We're not. We're just trying to move books, inappropriate books, out of the kids section. That's what we're trying to do, and that's the only thing we're trying to do. So we're told by commissioners that we're to abide by this and to bring out these forms that request for reconsideration of library materials, and we will do that. We will do that. We will fill these out, and we will do that. Absolutely. But I am worried and concerned that in a couple of months, we're going to have to go with a handful of these back to the county commissioners and redress this with them. Please don't let that happen. Please let me be wrong. Have the satisfaction of saying, you said you got Siske over a barrel and he was wrong. Please prove me wrong. And do your work and go over these forms. We're playing by the rules. Kevin calls it bureaucracy. If that's the way you want to play, we'll do that. But please, go over these books and make sure that who's ever going over them does it the right way and the correct way, with some common sense, not with American Library Association rules and regulations. As far as I'm concerned, you should hike them. You should throw them out the window. They're not doing you any service, and they're not doing this community any service. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Helen Hayden, and the topic is inappropriate material.
I'm here about the sex and nudity that is not allowed for anyone under the age of 18. Porn magazines have had covers. No one under the age of 18 legally can watch or buy porn. Young people under 18 who film or take sexual pictures of each other can be charged with child porn offenses, even if they both agree. Adults are encouraged to learn more about an R-rated movie before taking children to watch. Yes, I did do reconsideration forms asking you to remove those books. But if you don't remove them, at least move them. Such as this book found in the children's department on the parental shelf. And the librarian told me that they can be checked out, which means any child can view it. And children like to play house. So I'd like to ask you, how would you like to come home after your children have viewed this book and find Charlie was on top of Susie with no clothes, his private in her private? And I'll give you a few examples of just a few of the pictures out of that book. Thank you, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Next is Ben Decker, who would like to talk about ALA diversity.
Okay, after reading this book, Is Gay, at the last meeting, reading from that book, I've been made aware that all across the country, people are coming to the libraries and school board meetings and reading inappropriate material they found in their libraries. I've noticed that many of the same books are available in all the different libraries. Why is this the case? If diversity was the goal, every library in the country would be completely different and represent the unique qualities of the communities in which they are located. I haven't filled out any requests for reconsideration yet, and I haven't decided if I'm going to yet. When I do, I would like to know if it's turned over to the American Library Association for people to help you defend the book and help fight censorship. And here's the reason why I wonder that. This is a ALA report from October 2020 given to the Wyoming Library Association from the American Library Association. And at the conclusion it says, as the school year settles into itself and library visits become more routine, I would like to remind WLA members to report any challenges to materials to their collections to the Office of Intellectual Freedom. Professionals at the Office of Intellectual Freedom are available to assist you throughout the life of any given challenge. I am a resource as well. If you would prefer to contact me first and work together with the Office of Intellectual Freedom, it would be my privilege to assist you. Anyways, that's a librarian at Western Wyoming Education, Janice Grover Rosa. And then when you click on the link to the Office of Intellectual Freedom, it's the American Library Association Office of Intellectual Freedom, and it says, report censorship defends public freedoms. The reason I'm not sure if I'm going to fill out these challenge requests is I'm not sure it gets to the point of the issue we're making. If you take them and view them as we're requesting censorship and we're requesting these books to be removed, then I don't think I want to do that. But what I do want to do is establish guidelines and ways that we can know what's appropriate. Like if I turn in a book right now, it seems like you're just going to look at it and go, well, I don't feel this way, or I don't feel that way, or I feel this, or I feel that. Why don't we have specific guidelines, like this is appropriate for this age group, this is not appropriate for this age group? Is that something we can have to where we can have an understanding of what to expect from some of these challenges?
Well, this is a listening session, so it's not intended to be
I
dialogue,
understand
but you can call me.
Okay, I would like to do that, and I appreciate that offer. One other thing that's not totally related, but I know you mentioned you're getting water in the basement of the right library. Simple solution to that is just check the landscaping. That's the first thing you always want to check, make sure it's sloping away from the house on all sides, or away from the building on all sides. So just a quick thing that's not related, but.
Thank you. Next is Dean Baumhoff, and there is not a topic listed.
This is about Facebook post. And thank you, Mr. Anderson, for giving us this time to talk. And the rest of you. I'd like to share a new Facebook post from Darcie Accord, youth service librarian to the Gillette Against Hate group. On Friday, August 6th at 9:40 a.m., she stated that she wanted to boycott anybody's auto and any business that advertised in their magazine. And I see that she is concerned with hate groups in this community, as I am. My problem is that I don't understand how she comes to the conclusion that anybody's auto or anyone else involved in the protest had anything to do with hate. It is all because of the love that we have for our children in this community, to protect them from the evils of this world while they are still trying to find their identity. The library is not helping, but only confusing them more. That is why we want to keep this material away from young children under the age of 16, not ban books. If she is sincerely concerned about hate groups, how about boycotting Pizza Corella? They hosted Wyoming Equality with their leader, Sarah Burlingame, on the evening of July 15, 2020. Within a few hours, the 40-member group meeting, after the 40-member group meeting, the hatred grew to the point of vandalizing the local church, resulting in the painting of rainbows and other graffiti. This is not just hate talk, this is hate action. Because of her, Ms. Accord's title, one would think that she would take this very seriously. Instead, all she seems to be interested in is attacking anyone who disagrees with her position on sexual orientation. I hope Ms. Accord is not doing her rants on taxpayer time, but it appears she is. I have those on here for each one of you to see. Thank you for your time.
That was the last person that was listed for public comment. I believe that the next appropriate step would be for us to adjourn this public session and move into executive session. I would make a motion.
You voted.
Okay, so we already did that because of earlier. So we can take a moment, and since it's executive, we will clear the room. Is that accurate, John?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to clearly talk about the branding of 2013.